Salam alaikum du'oha. How is everybody? All good? Okay, I'm Malcolm Rodrigues. I'm the regional marketing lead for Canon Middle East. Today, we have something very special lined up for all of you. I would like to welcome you on behalf of Canon and our partner in Qatar, which is Salam Studios. So welcome to the session. First, I think we should start off with a Canon video. Okay, so today in Qatar, we are going to make history. Why? For the first time ever in the Middle East, we'll be launching a new camera on the same day that the global launch has been done. So are you guys ready to make history? Perfect. So what we have lined up today is obviously a product launch and an unveiling, and then we have a very special workshop by someone who has already been experienced the new product, yeah? I'll not reveal what it is, I'll let it to the experts. So I would like to welcome on stage Ms. Maria Kostova. She is the product manager for cameras from Canon Middle East.
Hello, everyone. It's a big pleasure to be here and to present you our new model. As Malcolm said, it's for the first time when we're presenting the product on the same time when we have the global launch. But before we will start about the more detailed interaction with the new model, let me briefly talk about the milestones that Canon has already reached. So how many cameras do you think Canon launched till date? Any guesses? Any? You know? No. Anyone else? How many? 400? No. Okay, we launched 21 EOS R camera. We launched cinema cameras 5. And how many lenses do you think were launched? Anyone? Any number is fine. 20 billion. No, just a model, not cells. Almost close, but 57 RF lenses was launched, and 7 cinema RF lenses. Canon is 7 years in the mirrorless market, so we know the full background and experience to present you the best product. And again, I just want to stress your attention on the lenses, because our main idea not only launch the main bodies, but also the lenses. And as you can see, we launch every single year from 4 up to the 15 lenses to meet all the customer and market needs. Now, I'm glad to present you our new R6 Mark III model. Let's watch the video.
This is the EOS R6 Mark III.
You can focus on creativity
without any limitations.
This camera really allows me to create different. You're so obsessed with it, you don't really count hours or days. Dude, you're kidding. When I take a picture, I'm always trying to tell a story because I think images are made for that. And it's always way more meaningful.
I got into photography because I love to be able to collaborate with other creative people. Perfect.
My creative process starts with finding a location. I'm reacting to the light, to the moods, the motives I'm finding at this beautiful area. When the nights fall, I feel like it's one of the most beautiful time of the day where you can play with artificial light and mixing it with natural light. The R6 Mark III is the perfect tool. This camera really improves the process of my creating.
This will be something that I really need to have in my camera bag.
Now it is time for us to physically unveil the product. Can I request on stage Mr. Adam Elmala, the distribution director from Salam Stores, along with Ms. Maria, if you could unveil the product to the audience.
Okay, here are the main points of the new model. 32.5 megapixel full frame sensor. It has 40 frames per second electronic shutter, 12 frames per second mechanical shutter, pre-continuous shooting, improved autofocus, 2 SD slot, and also it has enhanced video capabilities, making it a true hybrid camera. Okay, let's talk about how we position this product. We have, as you know, in the lineup R5 Mark II, and which is with the high performance and high resolution, and R6 Mark II and R8 with the good improvements, and also, but the resolution is a little bit less. So we feel that the gap between these two models we are missing. So that's why R6 Mark III becomes the best solution for this. This model mainly is focused on the portrait, action, landscape, and wildlife and people genres. And also, it's a very good tool to shoot the dynamic videos. Okay, let's talk deeply about the key updates. So the first one update is the resolution and performance enhancement. So here you can see our model, as I already mentioned many times, it's 32.5 megapixel, and R6 Mark II is 24 megapixel. With this high resolution, you will keep photos clear even when you will crop far away objects. So let's look at the video. We take the shot with one and the same shot with the R6 Mark II and R6 Mark III. From the first glance, you cannot see difference, but when you zoom in, you can see with R6 Mark III, the details are more clear. Also, R6 Mark III has 12 shots per second with mechanical shutter and 40 shots per second with electronic shutter to capture every moment without any fail. Also, R6 Mark III offers an increased number of continuous shots. The graph on the right has the comparison between R6 Mark II and R6 Mark III. And our new model can do twice as many shots as R6 Mark II in JPEG format. This shooting feature, pre-continuous shooting, it's very important because in just half a second, you can do up to 20 shots. It reduces the risk of missed moments and gives you the freedom No need right now to rely on your intuition or experience to get a great shot. Image stabilization also improved. Now it's effective even in a low light, offering up to 8.5 stops at the center and 7.5 stops at the edge. Also, it has 2 SD slots, one for SF Express card and SD card. These 2 card slots can be utilized to separate recording for still photos and videos. The second feature, autofocus. R6 Mark III has enhanced algorithm which improves autofocus stability over R6 Mark II. Also, it has a function to detect and prioritize the registered people. In one file, you can register up to 10 people. So this kind of function is very important when you have a shooting of the big event with the crowds of people. So you registered in your camera. You can see how you can do it on the video. You register the people, and then all the focus will be just on them, and you will never miss the focus. So also with autofocus right now, it allows smoothly change autofocus from one object to another, which is clearly seen on these pictures. And I just want to show you the example of dynamic shooting. So the objects will be locked even when it moves dynamically and when you have the noisy background. Now, let's explore the full-fledged video capabilities that unleash your creativity. On the slide, you can see all the 4 video formats that this camera can shoot. And also, this camera right now will come with the open gate recording, which allows the camera to use the full sensor optimization. You can use it in a social media recording, vertical and horizontal simultaneously. My next slide clearly explains this. Also, you can do recording in both RAW and the full HD at the same time. So it will make editing in post-production much, much easier. Also, one of the main difference, R6 Mark II has only 1 marker. So R6 Mark III right now has 2 markers. It makes it easier to track multiple points in your shot. Now, let's talk about the positioning. You know that we have quite a big range of products all across. We have the cinema products. We have also from the hybrid to the still cameras. So from the right-hand side, you see the product, which is mainly movie-focused. From the left-hand side, you can see all the models, which is hybrid or still. So, and also from the bottom chart, you can see more affordable products to the high end. You can see clearly that R6 Mark III is just right in the middle, which is the best camera for the advanced and mature, and also the best hybrid camera. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you for coming. I will pass to my colleagues.
Thank you, Maria. Now that we are done with the whole technical specifications of this beautiful product, I think next up, what we have is a very talented individual who would be conducting a workshop for us. So you would need to spend about 1 hour and 10 minutes with us until all of you will get a chance to touch and try the product at the Canon booth after that. Yeah? So we have, as I said, a very talented individual who is focused on nature photography and his experience on the EOS R6 Mark III. As I said, he's already used this product. Now, he's an adventure enthusiast, a wildlife conservationist, a wildlife photographer, a content creator hobbyist, and an avid Canon user. He's had the special privilege to use this camera for a few days, and he's here to inspire you. However, there's a catch. We will welcome him on stage virtually.
Photography has always been my way to connect with the world, to slow down, observe, and capture what many don't see.
Hi everyone, my name is Remi Vacher. I'm a wildlife photographer based in Dubai, UAE. I spend most of my time in those remote places like here, exploring the wildlife and driving wildlife conservation using photography. And today, I'm exploring something new, something exciting, a camera built for the hybrid world.
From the deserts of the Emirates to the icy peaks of the Himalayas, I've spent years chasing light and emotion, trying to tell stories that go beyond the frame. Over time, my journey evolved. I moved from stills to a hybrid approach, blending photography and video to bring the wild to life, to make people feel what I felt in those moments. And today, I'm taking you on a new ride, testing a new camera called R6 Mark III.
Okay, so I think what we should do now is, like just behind here, normally we can find some oryx. Okay, so there is an oryx just around here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to approach very slowly, not making any noise, so I can capture him while he's sitting on the floor.
It comes with a 32.5 megapixel sensor, a big jump in resolution that reveals every tiny feather, every texture, every subtle play of light, while allowing far more flexibility to crop without losing detail.
We want to try the new feature from the R6 Mark III, which is about the number of frames per second that has been increased, as well as the new autofocus. So here we have lots of flamingos, which would be a good test for that. And yeah, it's a bit crowded, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, let's set it up and see if we can get some bird flying and see the details that we have with the number of frames per second.
It shoots 40 frames per second, giving me the speed to capture those split-second movements, a bird taking off, or a leopard turning its head just once toward the lens. And with pre-continuous recording, it even captures the moment before I press the shutter, making sure those unpredictable scenes are never lost. The new focus tracking system is built for unpredictability. It locks onto eyes, movement, and even patterns, following subjects across the frame with remarkable precision. Its low light capabilities open a whole new world. I can keep shooting long after sunset, under soft moonlight or the first light of dawn, with colors that still feel alive.
Basically, the R6 Mark III is the first R camera to have the open gate technology, which is basically increasing the size of the sensors. You are able to capture horizontal video as well as vertical video in the same time without having to crop. And that's very important in the hybrid world where you might want to use it for social network as well as maybe for YouTube, for example. So you do both at once, and that's an amazing feature.
In the end, it's not just about specs, it's about freedom, trust, and connection. A tool that lets me focus on what truly matters, telling stories that bring us closer to nature.
Hi everyone, I hope you can hear me fine. So first of all, I'm very happy to be here and I'm very glad to be presenting what I'm doing on the, not every day, but as much as I can. It's a real passion for me, you know, to talk about wildlife and wildlife photography, so very happy to be here. One of the chance I got was to I got the chance to play with the R6 Mark III for the past couple of weeks, which, as you have seen from the video, I think it's a great product. For me, as a wildlife photographer, like, you know, the important time of the day are the sunrise, the sunset, so I have to shoot in low lights, and this is why it's very important to have those capabilities. as well as action, right? Most of the animals will move fast, the bird will move fast, and I need to have like high frame per second, lots of buffer, and this is why now all those improvements are very important. And of course, more and more people are also moving into video, right? And one of the things is with the R6 Mark III and the open gate, as you have seen, it gives the capability of shooting vertically and horizontally in the same time, which is a very unique feature, and that's the first camera that has this feature. So for me, that is also doing a bit of hybrid, video and picture. This is very important. So what I'm going to talk about today is mainly about nature photography. I think one of the things that I enjoy the most is probably wildlife, but landscape is also part of it. And I spend lots of time traveling and trying to use the photography to drive animal conservation, because I feel it's important that for the next generation we are able to say that we saved some of the species. And this is why, for me, it's very important to try to capture as much as I can and show it to the world, so that we can have, we can remember what we have and be careful in terms of how we act. So I've already slightly introduced myself, but as you can hear from my accent, I'm French. I'm based out of Dubai. I've been in the Middle East now for 7 years. And yeah, my focus is mainly wildlife and nature photography. So what I'll talk about today is some of the storytelling around wildlife photography and also around landscape. And I think the way I started my journey was that, of course, as everyone, you would like to understand your camera. You would like to make sure that, you can use every single feature out of it. Most of the time, you start with the basics, and then, you just improve along the way. Once I've reached that point, I found, for me, really important to find mentors, people that can help you, guide you on what to change, what to do better. Because at the end of the day, this is by accepting feedback that we improve. And then finally, one of the things now that I've been spending a lot of time is how to innovate, how to do something different. And what you see here is a car that I built, where I put my camera inside and I drive the car so that I can take different angle, and for some maybe animals that are not reachable, I would have this kind of reach. So I'll talk a bit around all of this. And one of the important thing is, I think wildlife photography can be quite expensive. You need to travel, you need to take lots of flights, you need to buy cameras, and often, probably what I haven't done at the beginning is, instead of just taking care of the wildlife that is sitting around me, I've been traveling, and I've failed a few times on tigers in India, where I didn't know how to use the shutter speed. Then all my picture got blurry. Also with the snow leopard in the Himalayas, you travel for days to find a snow leopard, and the day you find it, you screw up with your setting. So. Or going to Malaysia to Borneo with the orangutan, and then having underexposed picture. So it's always better to start training locally with the wildlife that we can find. So then when you get into some more expensive trip, you have the real experience, and you won't do anything wrong. I'll just keep this one. And as I said, I think quite often when I take picture, I'm mainly, laying down on the sand. I'm always pretty much dirty. I have to travel quite far. I'll show you a couple of adventures that I got. Try to, hide inside a tent to stay unnoticed and make sure, I can capture the best picture, which means that sometimes I have to be a bit ridiculous. But yeah, that's the way it works. And as I mentioned, this is kind of the small car that I use to get some animal picture fairly close, but with a different angle, because you will see for animal photography, most of the time it's always better if you can shoot from the ground. So the lower you are, the picture most probably will look much better. So now, part of the thing that that I like to look at when I start to create picture and is to think about the composition. When I started, I was just taking picture of what I have in front of me, but then slowly I moved into how should I plan my picture rather than just take what I have in front of me. So that's one thing very important that I enjoy more and more, is to look at the composition. Obviously, I'll talk about the lights, the colors. I think colors, there are also some specific combinations that work well together. So that's something that I'll touch on. And obviously, a little bit on the post-processing. So if you look at like photography and all the different rules that you can have, obviously that can be overwhelming at the beginning because there is so many things. And sometimes it's hard to understand, I mean, what should I use? What should I do? I don't understand it. And often you learn it by just doing it. But slowly, you start to understand each of them. And then you can apply it in real life. So the obvious one is anything around leading lines. So it can be a stream of water that is leading you to the subject, which is going to be the waterfall, for example. So this is a natural leading line, let's say. But it can also be like a kind of like a hard-coded leading lines where you have the camel with the sand and you just look at that line, you follow that line and you get to the camel. So the leading line will take you to your subject. And that's something that I always, I think, look first is what could be the leading lines that I have around me, being a proper line or just being some natural lines. Now, I think the picture are a bit stretched, but that's okay. The other one is the foreground. So most of the time, it's very important to have a strong foreground. So if, for example, like here, you have a baby leopard sitting in the grass, what I always try to have is some piece of foreground here that would make the green pop much better, and that makes the viewer feeling that he's almost sitting in the bushes with this leopard. Or if we look at the oryx, it almost feels you are laying down on the floor looking at the oryx because of the foreground. So that's another composition that I use quite a lot. The other one, obviously, so here is a bear in Sri Lanka. So try to use the rule of thirds. So if you go with your camera, you will have a grid. Use that grid, try to have the subject on the intersection. That doesn't mean it should always be like that. It's just a guideline, leaving all the negative space here. So if the bear is looking in that direction, I would always keep the space where the bear would be looking at. Same rule here for the giraffe. The giraffe are heading on that direction, so I would leave the space on the right. And I always try to apply that rule, unless I find like symmetries. So this is the Arabian red fox. So I spend lots of time with them in the desert trying to find them and try to find different and unique way to take picture of them. So that was me inside my tent, inside my hide. So I set the hide while they are kind of sleeping, and then I stay a couple of hours waiting inside until they wake up. And then what I try to have all the time is to have a bit of foreground and then try to get the fox like exactly in the middle so I can have some symmetry. Other example of symmetry, again with the fox, try to find some pattern within the environment that looks the same from each side and try to keep the fox in the middle. I think now that looks much better. Same for landscape. Here, this is in Kyrgyzstan. So there was one part of bad cloud that were coming, bright cloud on the left. So I was like, okay, let me find an angle where I have something that I could put in the middle where it would almost look like the good and bad, basically. Another type of symmetry would be more, like random kind of symmetry, but here that would be like a S type of thing. Here you see with the elephant, so the baby elephant is having the trunk here, which is pretty much the same as the mom. So trying to find patterns that are matching from one part of the picture to the other. The other one would be frame, like within a frame. So if I see, like in that case, I had the lion with lots of light coming. So that was nice because they were in the center. So I was like, well, if I just take the picture like that, might not look that great. So what about I find like a frame pretty much for it, using the trees, using the grass, like all different kind of like natural elements. The other one would be like motion blur. So try to bring some motion into the picture, right, without doing a video. So this is like quite late in the evening with the oryx, so I was trying to get the oryx to move, very high shutter speed so I can get the movement and try to keep the oryx as much sharp as I can without having anything else sharp. Then minimalism, which is like something that I really enjoy as well. So this picture, well, you cannot really know what it is, but I can tell you it's a black panther, black leopard in Kenya. So I was trying to get the black panther inside like at night, which is quite challenging, but I got quite lucky because there was a car, so the light of the car lit up the area, and the black panther was coming in my direction. So what I try to have is just like minimalistic kind of view where you just have the eyes as well as the mouth. The other part would be more like juxtaposition. So here, for example, we have a young lady walking like in the direction of a very big cow. So try to put like the big and the small in the same picture. Here you can see there is a small monkey that is just playing like by the head of the elephant. So you have the big and the small. So trying to find two subjects that are very different, like big contrast because of size, because of the way they are, and try to put them together within the same picture. Other angle, which low angle that I was talking about before. So I try to always go as low as possible when I take picture, because then the animal would look much more impressive than if it was just taken from above. So this one, for example, I put my camera on the ground. So I didn't go with the lion on the ground, but I just used the monopod that I was holding from the car on the ground. And then I was doing a remote shutter with my phone to take picture of the lion when it passed by. And this one was just from the car, but with a very good angle that makes it look like it's a low angle. Other idea playing with the light is, of course, to have like backlit picture. So on this one, it's in Kruger National Park in South Africa. So the male lion was in middle of the road. I got a bit lucky because there was a car coming behind the lion, so I got the light of the car. And that made it quite nice because it was early in the morning and you could see from the lion that he is breathing. So that's a cool one. And the other one with a cheetah in the middle of the day playing with the light as well to just show the shape of the cheetah. Then front lit picture, that could be with the leopard here where, just have the lights that hit very nicely, most probably in the evening, sunrise or sunset, to not have like very harsh light. So that's, yeah. The other one would be at night. So using artificial light. So what I always try to do is I try to find a friend that would be willing to go with me, hold the flash so that I don't have the flash directly on my camera because the lighting already wouldn't be great. So normally I would have the flash 45 degrees from the animal so that you get a light that is not directly from the front. And you can see that with the fishing cat in Sri Lanka and the Arabian horn viper in Dubai. Then I also try to look at the colors, like how can I, use the color in the right way. Sometimes you don't have choice, obviously, but there are colors that goes well together. So here, this is caribou in Canada. Then this is Masai Mara for both, like just playing with those different type of colors that goes well together. Same here. So I got quite lucky. Sunset, 2 elephants, 1 male, 1 female, like connecting with their trunk. So that's like the green going very well with the orange. So that's another thing that I'll be looking at. Now, what I try to do is different type of photography, and those are, I would say, the main type. The first one, I would say, is more around storytelling. So the one I'll talk about is the one in the Arctic with the polar bears. So because of the climate change, the polar bear, they don't have much ice anymore. So that means they are stranded on the land and they cannot go to the sea to hunt because they don't have ice, so they cannot walk. So what happened here is I wanted to create a set of pictures that would go together to explain what's going on. So the first picture here is the bear looking at the sea, probably thinking, when would I get some ice so I can go to the ice and then I can hunt the seals? So that's the first thing. Second thing is, well, how long they wait. Normally by beginning of November, they should be able to go and they should be able to hunt. But nowadays it's more beginning of December, so there is a complete shift. So they are stranded on the land, waiting. So that's kind of like explaining the waiting time. The mom polar bear with the small one also stranded on land. And because they don't have food, they are getting closer to humans. So any kind of human activity would also show. So I was trying to find a polar bear that would interact with anything that relates to human. So I can, show this kind of thing. So there was this one. And there was this one where there was a truck, a construction truck with these reds popping up. And while I was driving, I found out that there was a bear just next to it. So trying to use all of these to create the story. And because all those bears, they are all stranded on the land all together, the challenge that you have is it's many bears. Then they start to attack each other. So here what you see, it's the mother polar bear with the cubs that is chasing the male polar bear that is trying to attack the small one. So that's the first kind of like set of picture that I put together to create the story. Now the other one is in the Himalayas for the snow leopard. So snow leopards, you can find them in 13 different countries, but not so many left. So this picture just shows how small is the snow leopard in such a very large environment. But in the same time, this is the most powerful cat and most powerful apex predator in the whole area. So even though he's quite big and important, he's quite small compared to his landscape. And you can see it here as well, like walking through the landscape, full of snow. So most of the time, it's quite impressive to see him walking through the snow, 1 meter and a half of snow, and very hard to hunt. So I got quite lucky a few times to see them hunting, but they are always on the cliff, very steep, very challenging. So again, this is why having a camera that would allow to take lots of pictures is very important, because then you wouldn't be able to get that kind of shot where you get the right moment. Now, the last one is more about showing how alone he is in that environment. Sitting at the top, it's a massive mountain, is the only one there, and is, of course, not always easy to find food. So to get all of this, it's always a bit challenging, and I wanted to put some picture of me completely burnt because of the sun reflecting on the snow, always sitting near the cliffs, because this is how you would get this kind of picture. But also the last one is me under oxygen machine because of the high altitude. I got high altitude sickness, so I had to go under oxygen for like 2 days to recover from this. So it's not always easy, but we are learning every time and it's improving. So the other one that is a funny story, I would say, is So I spent lots of time in the desert looking for fox and different type of animal. And that fox, I knew where he was living exactly. And I've been there a few times. So what happened is I knew the place, he wasn't here. So what I did is I left my camera with a tripod and I went like 10 meters away, controlling the camera from my phone. So I was hiding behind a rock, waited 3 to 4 hours that he comes back, because I was pretty sure he would come back, and waiting on my phone to take the shot. And he came back, sit here, and I clicked like to take the picture, but I forgot that I didn't remove the mechanical shutter. I should have had the electronic shutter, but because I had the mechanical one, he reacted to the picture and then started to bite the camera. So this is how I test if the camera works well or not. It fell then after for almost 1.5 meters, but everything was fine. The fox left. I went back to my bag that I left, and he was there waiting for me, checking if there is anything inside the bag that he could get. Didn't take anything, but that was an interesting one. And this is the challenge of the desert, which would be similar here. As quite hot. I put a tent, stay inside the tent, sweating a lot, walking a lot, and always in some position that are not the most, let's say, comfortable. But this is how it's also interesting for me. Now, the other one, that's the one I was talking about. So you have, this is in Sri Lanka. So Sri Lanka is very known for leopard that you would find inside very beautiful landscape. So this one, it's a small leopard that was waiting in the bush for 2 days and a half. So every day I was going back to check. Every day he was here waiting for the mom to come back with food. So for 2 days and a half, going there every day, waiting 8 hours, nothing happening. She was never coming back. Then one day, everyone left because everyone was hungry. They wanted to go for lunch. I was like, no, I'm staying here. I'm staying here. And the mom came back right at that time. So I was alone in the whole landscape. And she took all the cubs and she started to move through the forest on that road that was very scenic. So that was, for me, a very nice moment, because that's the picture that I wanted to take with these roads, with the leading lines. And then something quite interesting happened. I didn't see it coming, but I saw the young leopard started to run, and I didn't understand why, but there was a monitor lizard that just crossed the road, and then suddenly he was chasing it. So I managed to get it, but I really didn't see it coming. So now, from a picture point of view, I'll just go through some of the pictures I've taken. So giraffe, again, very low angle from the car. Try to take it from the floor, so that this is what gives the giraffe a very tall kind of look. And if you can see, it's not a long lens, very wide angle and things like that. This one I talked about. This one was also interesting because I left the camera on the floor and the lion came, started to play with the camera, and then just left it. And that's the only picture I managed to get from that time. Anything black and white, I try to play with the contrast. So if you have a buffalo or anything like that, just this is what works the best most of the time for the black and white. This is in Malaysia, in the forest, trying to get the shape of the monkey that was sitting here through the light, the white light. This is in Komodo Island in Indonesia. So again, here I had to be a bit careful because I was laying on the floor. It wasn't too far, but he also doesn't move very quick. So it was fine, but just had to be a bit careful. And the point was to get him with the sky that was very bright, so I can create that contrast between the Komodo and the sky. This is the snow leopards. So try to lots of heavy patterns here, and I was like, well, that could be nice to have something that's gonna break those patterns on this picture. Playing with the symmetry here. Same as what I was talking before. Try to get the symmetry right and try to take the picture when the elephant were at the same distance here from the tree so that I can have a strong symmetry, let's say. That was after the bag. So if you remember the picture of my bag, it was here, the bag. And then when he saw me coming, it started to go down. And what I always try to take with the fox is when they have like their legs like this, because they are quite stealth. So that's kind of picture this kind of thing. And you can see, by the way, from the camera, I started with the EOS R. I had the R7, the R5, now I have the R5 Mark II. So this is why you can see that it's a mix of different camera. One of the challenge, obviously, I guess, in Middle East is during the day, the light is very strong, so it's hard to take some very good picture, but that allows sometimes to take some very nice contrasted picture because you have the bright sky and then you can underexpose, so you can get some picture like this. Now, one of the things that I like probably the most is silhouettes. Like try to get silhouettes, right alignment with the sun. I've spent, I think, probably 1 month to be able to take that picture. So again, that's the fox. I knew where was the fox. I knew where was the sunset every day. But I went every day for 1 month to the same spot, hoping that one of those nights the fox will cross at the time the sun is coming down, which worked after 30 days. But it took quite some time. So that was like the example of the shot that was planned. But yeah, sometimes you have the lucky one and sometimes it's the planned one, let's say. Same. I like the mystery of the silhouette, right? So you have like the male and the female. They were in a mating season. So it's like trying to picture that, but in a very, subtle way. I talked about this one. Same here in Mongolia for the snow leopard expedition, playing with the goats like at the top of the mountain to try to create some silhouettes here. With the Mongolian camels, with the sunrise. And of course the oryx, because that's one of the animals that I can see quite a lot. It can also be, by the way, a very small lizard. This is in Borneo, in Malaysia, very small lizard. I saw that there was the light and here a patch of green, so I was like, that could make it a nice silhouette. Minimalistic shot, I talked about it before, so something that I really enjoy as well. Try to have very small details, let's say. So that was, I don't know if that shows very well here, probably not that well, but that was one of the pictures I took last week with the R6 Mark III, but I think on the screen doesn't show that well. But here you have the Milky Way, so no animals here, just the Milky Way and me trying to run to the camera to take the picture and be on the picture in the same time. Same here with the snow leopard, try to have very minimalistic landscape, which is not always easy. It's quite hard for anyone that knows like the snow leopard region and stuff like that. It's very hard to have like minimalistic shots of snow leopards because most of the time they live in like mountains and very like a cluttered area. So that's what I was really trying to do. Always you can notice as well, empty space on the side that the animal is looking at. So if he's looking left, empty space in the left. And then often, because I use the 100-500 most of the time, because for me, it's light and it allows me to have a good reach, and I'm always walking and things like that. So if I take a prime lens, that can take lots of space and it's hard to carry, especially if you have to climb a mountain or something like that. So often, when we have a zoom tele lens or something like that, we tend to use that the whole time. at 500 millimeter. But what I like to do more and more is how do we take like a wider lens and try to take more of the animal within their environment, within their landscape. So not too much of like a close-up. And the example would be the one I took with the R6 Mark III of the small owl completely in the middle, so quite small in the picture. Or also here, one thing that is interesting is how with the same landscape, you can create completely two different types of shots. So you have this one, which is the bear that is catching the salmon, jumping upstream, or this is exactly the same place, opening the shutter speed, so you get more of like a smooth kind of water flow. It's a bit hard because it means that the bear shouldn't move. If the bear moves, then most probably you will have a blurry bear, which it's not the point. So you have to try many shots to be able to get it right. But it's also interesting how within the same environment, same animal, same camera, you can have different type of picture. Playing with reflection as well, didn't talk about that, but again, if you have some water, just go very low so that you get the chance to have some reflection. This is the kingfisher in South Africa, like trying to also get it while it gets to the water, so not the perfect shot, but it was quite fun. And one thing that is important that I didn't talk about is how with nowadays camera, you can go quite high in the ISO. You can see at that picture, it's ISO 8000, which is, I mean, it's quite high, but still the quality of the picture is quite nice, because after that, you can always use some software to recover your picture, to remove the noise. So don't be afraid to go high in the ISO and then make sure your shot is sharp rather than going too low and then get a blurry shot. A typical example of like animal in their environment, and I'm not sure if you have seen it yet, is where is the snow leopard in the picture? It's not like you need to look for some time before finding it because he's blending so well into it. And this is most of the snow leopard shots. This is the kind of picture you will get where he was, I think, probably 500 meters away. I had 800 lens, and still he looks very small and very hard to see. Another example would be, the oryx, small in the picture, with nice dune, not too much of like clutter. Again here, normal picture, but again playing with the light, so the orange light with the blue sky, the light falling straight on the elephant. So that's the kind of lucky shot that you can have, but when you see that light, it should be like, oh, well, I need to find a subject that's going to end up at the bottom of that light so that I can have a nice picture. Same polar bear that I took from the car, try to play with the contrast of the very blue sky. The small ram crossing in Las Vegas, the landscape. So again, very small in the picture, but yeah, that's nice as well to show the environment. And then just a normal seal here. When I was talking about juxtaposition, this is the same. You have a human crossing with his boat, but in the same time, you have the seal just like looking away from it. And this is in Antarctica, where you wouldn't expect to have much boats or anything like that. So creating some kind of contrast, like human and animal in the same picture. Of course, like sunsets picture are always nice, trying to see if the sun is gonna come straight nicely, or sometime it just fade and you don't have much. So that was in Kuwait. Playing with the flamingos, and maybe with the screen we don't see that much. And again, the idea of going very low. This one I went almost too low, but trying to get the deer in the water, so I had the camera like almost like 5 centimeters up the water, and there was a wave coming. So just use that as, you know, a point to drive to the deer. Another one here, which is using the leading lines, and you have something not sharp here, but on purpose, just to have a shadow of something in that misty forest. You want to create the perception that, you know, there is something there, what we don't know what it is, basically. I'll not go through all of it, just for the sake of time. But yeah, here again, in Antarctica, there was not many subjects, obviously, but once we were on the boat, I figured out, well, there is a seal here. So the seal and the ice looking at this massive iceberg. So I try to get it always using the lines here to have it in the intersection of the... I'll just pass some of it. Here in Namibia, same, try to use the symmetry, one part of sun, one part without. The northern light in Canada, so opening to 25 seconds to get the northern light, which was a bit challenging because here, in this area, there was polar bear. So the polar bear are just roaming in the street, and someone called me and said, "Oh, Remi, there is northern light." I was like, "Oh, wow, I'm going out then." And the police stopped me and said, "Well, you cannot be here because there is a male polar bear, just like roaming. We saw him like 30 minutes ago." So I had to go back to my place, wait for some time, and then after went back to that place and tried to get this, those rocks that are basically like some symbol from the Inuit, and the northern light on the same picture. Same here, using the leading lines, misty kind of landscape in India. And then one of the things that I like to do, it's a bit more of like an editing thing. It's not really, obviously, I'm not getting the picture like that out of the camera. But when I have the right amount of light and I took the right picture, then just like focus on the face of the animal, darken the other area, play with the mask in terms of editing, so that I just get like some proper portraits. So I think that's pretty much it from my side. I just wanted to show you different type of picture that I've done, just to give some inspiration. There is so much more that I would love to do, but it's just a matter of time. And before we invite you to go to check the new camera, it's going to be there. You can test it. You can play around with it. We have a small quiz, so like 3 questions that I'm going to ask. And then whoever has the right answer, then they will get something, which I don't know what it is. So the first question is, what's the name of the new technology from Canon that allows you to record? Yes. So thanks, everyone. You can come to the Canon booth. There are a couple of cameras there. You can play, try, see what's new. You can see what's open gate. And again, thanks to everyone. And my pleasure being here.